The Joe Rogan Experience.
I'm a little nervous about Iran, though. That seems like real shit. That makes me want to get educated on the subject so I could really freak out.
The one thing that made me feel better is when they were screaming death to America recently, the president of Iran was like, well, when we say death to America, we don't mean the citizens. We like the citizens. We're talking about fuck you, Donald Trump, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
But they've been saying that for a long time. That death to America chant, that's been around.
Right.
That's a tough sell.
Yeah.
We know what you're saying. You're saying death to America. Okay, like, that's one thing that you don't want to be misconstrued. If you want to fucking make signs and yell, like, you don't like, hey, we're not talking death, guys, right? Oh, yeah, definitely not death. Let's go out and scream death to America. Everyone's going to know. Like, that would be the worst way to communicate something. Like, why, if you don't really think that, why would you say death to the American political system, death to the American military complex, not death to America.
Right.
Death to America is everybody. How do they got us all mixed? We don't have nothing to do with this, guys. We're just over here chilling. How do they got us messed up in some international conflict that you actually have to think about might come a knocking on your door? What fucking ineptitude mixed with scumbaggery led us to this position? Who did this? Is it the Iranian guys? Did Trump do something he shouldn't have done?
Doesn't it seem weird timing, though, with this whole impeachment shit? Like,
it's all weird, dude. It's all weird. The fact that Trump can kill people. Just understand how crazy it is that you got a guy like Trump who could just go, send it in, send the missile, just shoot missiles. He could just, listen, man, don't give me that power either. Don't give anybody that power, for sure. But a guy like Trump, guy who's famous for being mean to people on a reality show, you're fired. Famous for being a baller. I mean, that's what he's famous for. That's the crazy thing. Like, he was in rap songs all the time in like a complimentary way. Like, that guy's life has gone through an arch.
Home Alone 2.
He was in Home Alone 2. And in Canada, those silly fucks, they edited it out. The CBC edited out the Donald Trump scene because it's offensive. Offensive to us who really enjoy films without monsters. That's history. Are you going to go into fucking Naked Gun and get rid of OJ? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You going to take OJ out of the NFL archives? What are you going to do? No, this is life. You can't make life prettier by pulling Donald Trump out of Home Alone. You're supposed to look at it and go, holy shit, who would have thought that fucking guy would be the president one day and be killing dudes and maybe starting World War III? Like a goddamn Stephen King novel. You know, Stephen King's freaked out by Trump. These media posts... Oh, what happened there? These media posts will serve as notification to the United States Congress that should Iran strike any U.S. person or target, the United States will quickly and fully strike back, and perhaps in a disproportionate manner. Such legal notice is not required, but is given nevertheless. Dude, fuck this. That I don't like to see on Twitter. That seems so bizarre. That almost seems like the simulation theory has hired like comedy writers to come in and subtly fuck with everybody. That he can just put that on Twitter? How can he just put that on Twitter? Like, I thought there was a series of checks and balances. You know, I mean, this is ultimately like one guy can have like an instantaneous press conference anytime he wants just by putting something on Twitter. And then there's all these people that go, you got to ban him for Twitter. But here's the problem. You ban him from Twitter, he'll go to Gab, right? If he goes to Gab will all of a sudden skyrocket because everyone's going to want to go to Gab to see Trump talk shit on Gab where it's full freedom of speech. So what if he starts swearing on Gab? What if they make a deal with him? What if they give him 50% of Gab? Because they think it's imminent because of this war we're in with Iran. This could be a movie where they're going to ban him from Twitter. And Vidya and Jack Dorsey has to leave. He's in a meditation, silent meditation in fucking Bali, and he has to fly in, and he has to figure out whether or not they can make this executive decision to ban Trump. But everybody's calling for it. Ban Trump, ban Trump, ban him, ban him. And then if they banned him off Twitter, you imagine if you went to the thing and the page said banned, you would just open up your windows and hear liberals cheering. Like King Kong just fell off the Empire State Building. Yeah! this. He's fucking banned. The YouTube videos would be spectacular. Do you know how many virtue signaling dipshits would have YouTube videos just screaming and pumping their fists in the air and pointing to the screen with Donald Trump and says owned? You know how many? It would be hilarious. And all he would have to do is do that and go over somewhere else, and that new platform would be fucking gigantic because everybody would want to know what he says. And if he says it over there, everybody else would just retweet it on Twitter anyway. It would probably be like killing coyotes. You know how you kill coyotes and then they make more coyotes? Like a female, when they shout out, that's like a roll call. And if someone's missing, the female makes more babies. That's one of the craziest things about coyotes. That's why they're everywhere. That's what would happen with Trump. If they banned him off Twitter, his signal would be bigger than ever. It would be fucking bonkers. Like, they're in a precarious situation now too, because these social media companies, they're being labeled as someone who would ban freedom of speech from certain people if they don't believe with their ideas. Now, if this happens to be the president, that they say you can't have freedom of speech on our platform anymore, then everything is like out the window. Like, what is this? What are we doing? And then if it backfires and Twitter loses all of its power and some other fucking company comes along and takes the spot, some company that promises to never do that to the president, let people express themselves, but explain perhaps through a fucking series of checks and balances why you can't stalk somebody or be mean to somebody or... Does this make any sense, or just really high?
Is it about him being on the most popular? Is like Twitter then like the most popular platform because he could do radio?
He could do anything he wants.
Yeah, and but is it no one's paying attention to the radio or the TV things that he does, and everyone pays attention to his tweets?
Well, it's interesting because he's got to think. I mean, he's a guy that obviously he does a lot of business deals, and he does a lot of deals simultaneously. It's the only way he can have as many properties as he has. You know, he's got Trump towers everywhere. He's got them in Vegas and Chicago and all over the world. Like, he's got to be a guy that's always thinking about doing the next thing. And if he was, like, you would think he's like setting himself up as a business. It's like he's a business. He's now not just the president, and he's always been a business. He's always been a celebrity and iconic financial character. But now his entertainment, like what he says about life and everything, is fucking super valuable. If Trump had that show, if he decides to have a podcast, do you know how goddamn crazy it would be? If Donald Trump just pulls up, has a YouTube channel, talks into the camera, says what he really thinks about everything. They release it as a podcast as well. And no one can stop him because that's freedom of speech. Because freedom of speech is let this guy talk. Do you know if he started threatening people, like threatening Iran from his YouTube channel? Like, what the fuck? Imagine if World War III is caused by a tweet. Imagine if Trump threatens someone and they retaliate to show they're not scared and we nuke them. And then, oh my God, from a Trump tweet. Is that possible? Seems like anything is possible.
He's probably going to do it right at the end, too.
At the end is a weird one, right? Like, is it going to be a few months from now, or is it going to be 4 years from now?
That's with all this Iran thing, is it might happen faster. I didn't think it was going to happen at all, but now maybe this Iran
the impeachment thing.
Yeah, maybe this is for a purpose.
He's not going to just go. That's the thing, and there's a lot of people that don't want him to go. The Republicans don't want to lose power, and they're very smart in that. Even ones that are, that were never Trumpers at one point in time, they've accepted him. He's a fascinating guy. He's a fascinating, like, human character. If you look at him in terms of, like, just his... Go back to that photo that we're just looking at. Let me see that in big time. He's a fascinating character, man. And he's also a very strong guy in a lot of ways, like mentally strong, in terms of what he's been able to accomplish, all the business deals, always believes in himself. There's something about that gets other people, and they sort of like, they get a little ass kissy around him, and they want him to like them. Because if he doesn't like you, it's devastating. If Trump goes after you on Twitter, gets mad at you, it's devastating. So they all want him to like him. So look at them all reaching for him. Like, that's a painting one day that they'll have on the caves. They'll cave paint that after World War III, after we get nuked into the fucking Stone Age. They'll cave paint how a guy figured out how to be just mean enough but just nice enough and have all these people like him and literally be able to kill someone with a press of a button. And then everybody wants to touch him. Like, look at that. They're reaching for him. They're reaching. Look at the guy in the back. They're all reaching.
It's like a Michelangelo painting.
Bro, it is. And that this guy somehow got into this crazy position from hosting a reality show and getting really famous by telling people they're fired. And now all of a sudden, he's he's deciding whether or not they can nuke generals into another dimension from a robot that flies and just shoots missiles. And the missiles are called Hellfire missiles.
Did you hear that new? I think Russia has it. That supersonic goes Mach 27.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
They drop it from space and it just like roller coasters itself in, and like I guess we don't have a thing to stop it yet. It's 27 times the speed of sound.
Oh, Jesus Christ! This is the Space Force shit.
Yeah.
This is why Trump wanted to have a Space Force. When I heard about a Space Force, I was like, what are you doing, man? Space Force. But here's the other thing: when you're 74, or whatever he is. Do you realize you're 74 or are you just alive? I think you're just alive, especially if you're on diet pills. Then I think you're really just alive. You're out there. You're just fucking grinding. You're just like grinding because that's how you do it. You just go out there and you kick ass. He's not thinking about riding off into the sunset. He's not thinking about any of that shit. But we think that way. When we see someone at 74, we're like, oh, by the time he's 78, he's going to want out. He's not going to want out. He's not going to want out. He's alive. Is he alive? Yeah, he's gonna keep going, especially if you're stimulated, if you're artificially stimulated. You know, I mean, I'm talking right now while I'm drinking coffee. That's why I'm so excited.
Is he TikToking yet?
I hope he does.
I hope that'd be great. Oh.